welcome back to Storytime with Captain Xavier. I'm Chaylo Laurino, and I play Captain Xavier here on YouTube and in video games and in various other places. The first place was the Empire of Adria, which I got into back when I was 18 years old, and that's where the character was originally formed. And the story that you've elected to hear today came from back then. This is the tale of the War of Two Knights, which was an interesting turning point in both the life of Captain Xavier and honestly in my life as well. I don't remember what year it happened anymore. I used to have a journal of the exploits of Captain Xavier that I would update after every event, often after practices, but definitely after every major event. I'd have a journal entry of what happened and how it fit into the general story of Captain Xavier, because I liked telling stories, and obviously that's why these happen. It was all mostly written in character, and it was very, very interesting. Unfortunately, it got lost to a catastrophic hard drive failure many, many years ago, and I never could bring myself to try to recreate it because I didn't remember so much of the stuff that was in there. But the War of Two Knights definitely happened when I was in my early 20s, before the crew had actually formed, I believe. This happened in the Empire of Adria as opposed to the realms of Avalon. I was playing both, but this was, I believe, before the crew had really, truly formed, and so I wasn't as attached to that character. And I'd kind of started to get tired of it in ways, because Captain Xavier had always been an outlet for me, because I had always been a lawful, good individual, really. I was good in school, I didn't drink, I didn't go to parties. At this point in my life, I'd still never even had a girlfriend. And so Captain Xavier was an outlet where I could be the bad guy. And the problem was that I was still me. And so it became very apparent to people very quickly that that was just an act, that was just a character that I played. And as they got to know me and realized, hey, this is actually a really nice guy, he's not actually an unchivalrous schmuck. He's always helping set up. He's willing to teach. He likes telling stories. He likes dancing. He likes all these things that really don't fit to that captain, that evil pirate persona that he likes to play, that seditious Frenchman. And so I considered getting rid of the character, and the War of Two Knights was my excuse. So, in order to in Adria, there are 3 levels of knighthood. Your first level of knighthood, you get the title and the belt and all of that. The second level, you get a vote on the local estates. You are, in fact, an estate at that point. You get a vote. I don't think you got the title of Lord, but you had the precedence of it, meaning that you got a vote in the House of Lords, so you were now part of the governmental system. At 3rd level knighthood, you actually got a vote on the imperial level. And so when Lord Hamish and I, who had kind of we'd been rivals friendly rivals from early on. We were both very good swordsmen, though I had surpassed him in sword fighting by this point. But we were neck and neck in archery. He was probably still the better archer than me. But it tended to be I'd win a tournament, he'd win a tournament, I'd win a tournament, and we'd win by 1 or 2 points this way or the other way. It was a lot of fun, and we were both schmucks. Absolutely, I really got that term, referring to myself as a schmuck, from Hamish, because he used that term all the time. And I learned some wonderful vernacular from Hamish. His real name is Jim, and his father is a deep Tennessee hillbilly. I honestly cannot understand a word the man says. His accent is so thick. Great stories from Hamish, and a wonderful individual. But when we both reached 2nd level knighthood, we were now both officially estates, and so estates can declare war on other estates. So as the moment I got my 2nd level knighthood, which I believe I got from him, because I believe it was in archery, I stood up and immediately declared war on him. And it was just an excuse to have a silly, fun war, really. But there was also the underlying possibility of this might be a way for me to kill off this character and create a new character, and be able to be more me, be a good character, as it were. More of a paladin type, I guess you would say, which is always more of what I really was in real life. And so I'd come up with a character. I have Scottish heritage. The Forrester clan is in on my mother's side. And so I created a Scottish character. And the intention was that if I lost the war and was ultimately killed by Lord Hamish, that I would have that character be dead. And I would create a new character, and given that it was a Scotsman who killed me, I was going to make another Scotsman, and then we could have Scottish clan wars, and that would be fun. So I'd created this character of Nathan Forrester. No, that wasn't the right first name. I don't remember what first name I went with. Something suitably Scottish. But Forrester was the clan, and I was going to try to get my hands on the correct tartan and all of that. Because I fully expected to lose the war. Because this was before the crew existed, I didn't think anyone was really going to side with me against Lord Hamish, because he was very popular, and Clan MacLean was very large and powerful, and MacLean, I didn't think anyone would be able to defeat MacLean in war. But I discovered that I was more popular than I thought, and that Captain Xavier was more popular than I thought. And it ended up the two sides were very equal, and it really did come down to the individual skill of me and Hamish. And I believe he won the target archery portion of it, but we ended up taking all of the combat, just from better strategy and better troops. It was a very close thing, but there were a couple of really lucky shots I got in the battlefield where we were both combat archers, and there was one point where it was an uphill battle. We were fighting uphill, they're entrenched on the top of the hill, and I got a lucky shot and hit Hamish in the arm, and so he couldn't use his bow anymore. And without his, missile support, we were able to storm the hill and take him out. And since I was still able to shoot, I was popping people off the shield line on his side, left and right. And ultimately, it came down to it was tied, neck and neck. It came down to a champion's battle between me and Hamish. Whoever won this fight won the war. And we decided to do a knife fight. So we were both doing rapiers with daggers. And again, we were both very, very good. And I definitely would have won if it had been with long blades. But with short blades, I didn't have near the advantage that I did with long blades, in that I actually had fencing training. And it really just came down to a brutal knife fight. And again, we were tied 2 points to 2. It was first to 3. I made a risky lunge. I came in low and came up under, got up under his guard, and rather than try to parry the attack, he countered, and with an overhand stab, and I got him in the heart, right in the chest, and he stabbed me in my left butt cheek, because of course he did. And that's a wounding blow, whereas mine was a fatal blow, so I got the win, and thus won the war, but he got the bragging rights, because he stabbed me in the butt, because of course he did. And it ended up having afterwards talking to people and the people who had supported me and who had come in on my side, made me realize that I didn't need to kill off Captain Xavier to be able to play a character that was more similar to myself. I in fact, could just change Xavier to be a little bit more like myself. And later on in life, a couple of years later, it really struck me that there was nothing preventing me from playing Captain Xavier the way that I really wanted to. But this was the first step towards that realization. When it finally hit me, I was in my mid-20s at that point. I think I was 24 or 25. And that one hit me really hard. And it was from the movie Gods and Generals, of all things, the way that Stonewall Jackson was portrayed as being the ultimate, honorable, caring, loving, chivalrous man who was a teacher and who was very calm and relaxed and did the right thing because it was the right thing, until he was on the field of battle. And then he was just an absolutely ruthless leader. Did not believe in giving quarter, believed in, the black flag. You invaded our land, we're going to destroy you. And that was how I perceived war, and that chivalry on the field of battle will often get other people killed because of your vanity. Oh, you dropped your sword, I shall let you pick your sword up. And then they go on to kill other people when you could have killed them and saved your own people. That was the side of chivalry that I didn't like. In a tournament, I believed in being chivalrous. If your opponent falls, you let them get back up. If your opponent drops their weapon, you let them get back up. This is an honorable duel between two people. It should be fought as thus. But war should be war. And it wouldn't be for a couple of years that I finally made that connection, and it completely changed my life. But this was the first step. This was the first time that I considered killing him off just so I could be myself more and be less Captain Xavier. Because Adria was such a huge part of my life. So much of my time and energy went into that game, and later went into the crew, and to my detriment. It took me a lot longer to get through school than it should have, because so much of my time and energy was going into the game and not into real life, and that's one of the reasons now that I tell people that, no, life comes before the game. If you need to, if you can't come to an event because you've got life stuff, then you don't come to the event. That's how it works. Take care of your life first. Take care of your family. Take care of your friends. The game can wait. The crew can wait, and that is because I learned that lesson the hard way and didn't do that when I really should have been. But the War of Two Nights was a lot of fun. And like I said, I was really surprised at the people who came to my side and joined my side. And the outcome, I think he ended up, there were prizes for both sides. Sir Mikos, who is still one of the greatest men I have ever met and ever known, and he was just the ideal and the epitome of chivalry of what I wished I could have been in Adria, and what I would have been if I hadn't created Captain Xavier. I would have been a lot more like Sir Mikos. But in a lot of ways, I needed Captain Xavier. I needed that outlet. I needed to be able to do what I ended up doing. It's one of those, things happen often for reasons, and often we don't understand them at the time, and it ultimately helped me get to where I am today, and I'm very, very happy with where I am today. There's a lot of wonderful things in my life that are purely the result of me creating that evil pirate back when I was 18 and wanted to rebel. So many people that I've been able to help, and places I've been able to go, and things I've been able to do, and all of that ultimately came because I chose to play an evil pirate back in high school. It's neat how life takes turns like that. But Sir Mikos had prizes for both of us. I got 2 kegs, little metal kegs, of Virgil's root beer, and it took me forever to drink it all. I wouldn't be surprised if the Sergeant Major still has one of the kegs in his fridge. I wish I knew what happened to the other one. But I think Hamish got a pirate skull on a pike, because this took place near Halloween, so there's a lot of Halloween stuff out. And it was a really fun war. We had a lot of fun back then, and we played the game, and it was silly, and we didn't take ourselves too seriously. And we lost some of that once we started getting more and more involved at the Imperial level, just because the Imperials took themselves far too seriously. But they were dealing with the business aspect of side. But that was why when people from the Imperial level came to the Northwest, we always got told the same thing, that we were playing the game they wished they were playing, and we always told them the same thing. Well, why on earth aren't you? And I think that might have been why, after we put LeBay and whoever the other one was, I can't remember his name now, the second Emperor we put on the throne, and I got to meet, more Imperials, and I met with Lord Wright, who had been Emperor several times, and I think he's currently Emperor again because he's an excellent leader, and was very highly respected. And we had a lot of long talks about our philosophy of the game and philosophy in general, and all of this, and he actually said that he would have supported me for Emperor if I ran. That the way we played the game was right, and that he wanted to see someone on the Imperial throne who actually believed in that. And that was kind of the ultimate of, when did that happen? When did I go from the angry, pent-up, angsty 18-year-old to a respected leader? It snuck up on me, because we always still had that pirate thing going. I had my crew of misfit, most of them were pent-up, angsty high school kids. But we were having fun, and people could see that we were having fun. But the War of Two Nights was kind of a low point for me. I dealt with depression since I was at least 15 is when I first realized that I had depression. Wouldn't be until much later that I realized where it was coming from and the source of it and all of that, and got the help that I needed. But that was kind of a low point for me, was that I was depressed, I had low self-esteem, I didn't think people liked me. And that the outcome of that war helped me a great deal to realize that no, people do like me. I'm not as bad as I think I am. And they know that. They see through the charade and know, you know, what I'm really like, and are helping me to try to be that person. So it was a good war, and it helped me a great deal. So there you have it. That's the War of Two Nights. There weren't any... I don't remember any wild and crazy shenanigans other than the final knife fight. I mean, this was at least 15, 16 years ago now, and I don't have any notes of it anymore. If I probably did a lot of digging, I might be able to find something, but I don't even know where I would look anymore, because we used to do all of our organization was through Yahoo groups back then. Yeah, good times. All right, so we're gonna stick with the medieval stories. The other two options that were not voted on were the First Border War, where we went to war with Oregon, or rather, Oregon declared war on us, which was foolish of them, and they ended up getting very thoroughly trounced. And it led to the Second Border War, which was even more fun, but also had some rough patches. There is the history of the crew and pipe blocks, how the crew got into doing kitty pipe blocks, where I learned it from, how I brought it over, where it ended up taking us, because that led to some interesting stuff. We ended up getting hired as guest lecturers at a college because of our pipe block stuff, and that was good times. I wish we'd been able to keep up with that and get our act even better and get our gear even better and really fine-tune that and maybe take it to more places. And I need a third story. Here's a fun one, and it really doesn't have anything to do with Captain Xavier. It really is just a concept that I would like to get more into the world. It actually involves my younger brother, Elagio, and his time in school at Boise State University, which I went to University of Idaho, so rival schools, but we weren't at school at the same time. He had an art project that resulted in a deeper understanding for me of the concept of art, and what is art, and what isn't. And so, if you're interested, I would love to tell that story of what art means to me and my brother. But other than that, the other options: First Border War, kitty pipe blocks, or Captain Xavier learns about art. Alright, have a great weekend. Thank you guys for watching.